Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to the penultimate rounds of the SMRC iRacing Summer Championship. You are most definitely welcome. What a night we have got in store for you. We take a trip, our first trip of the season, as round 7 hits Monza, Autodromo Nazionale Monza, and I think one man who would maybe be a little bit proud of me for that is going to be none other than co-commentator Alex Goldschmidt, joining us back at the reins. Good evening, Alex.
Molto bene, Davide. Molto bene.
Right, come on, point out of 10 for that. Are you proud of me? Have I 9.9
on that? 9.9 on that effort. Buonasera a tutti. Good evening, everyone. And yes, good to be back. I've been, as many of you might know, especially David, that I've been back over to Europe for karting commentary duties. But I'm pleased to say that I'll be back for this round and also for the season finale in a couple of weeks' time when we head to the mountain, Mount Panorama. But what a track. Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. They broke ground back in the 15th of May, 1922. The architect of this was one Alfredo Rosselli. And the circuit has been in operation. Well, effectively, as of next Thursday, this circuit will have been opened for, now we're at 2020, 98 years.
Wow.
And what a track it is, 25 degrees Celsius air temperature, 40 degrees track temperature. But one of the interesting things here, now there says a 47% chance. Is that of rain or is that humidity? So 40. And this is why I wanted to, because it's been a while since I've been back with SMRC, if I'm honest with you. Partially cloudy, a 7-kilometre wind. But it is the Temple of Speed, and we have a 15-minute qualification session. Tonight, David, we have our last double 30 of the season. 2 30-minute races around the 3.6-mile, 5.793-kilometre circuit, 11 turns. And in the modern era of racing, Rubens Barrichello holds the fastest lap record of a 1 minute 21.046. However, our GT4s will be quite considerably slower than that.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's fine. It's fine.
Just a little tad. We're golden. We're golden. We know what's going on.
But yeah, a fantastic track. And obviously it is a lone qualifying session here in iRacing. Now what that means is that each driver has the luxury of having this entire wonderful circuit to themselves virtually in qualifying circumstances. So 2 minutes gone of qualifying, so we've not really missed much, but it gives us a chance really to talk about the championship so far, Alex. And Lewis Ward, we do obviously quite a few championships here at the SMRC, and by far this is one of the closest championships that we've got going on right now. Lewis Ward's in the leads with 311 points from Fraser Williamson in second place on 303, and then Jack Hare with 300 points. But given that there is a significant amount of points up for grabs, it must be nearly, I'm just trying to work that out, 70, about maybe 150 points, 145 to 150 points up for grabs in the next 2 rounds. It really could go any way.
Yeah, definitely the case, David. I mean, when you think about it, the top 3, when we, I think it was after the double 30 at Spa, we literally had the top 3 line astern by 2 points. And that was, I think that was Fraser Williamson leading Lewis Ward and Jack Hare, if memory serves me correctly. So it's like, and I'd already done the calculations on the fly that particular evening. When we came to the next round, it was just like, 2 points between the top 3. You couldn't really, you couldn't call it any closer. I mean, you then look at the driver in 4th place at the moment. We've got Michael Weddle in the 17, Porsche 718 Cayman MR Club Sport GT4 out on the circuit. There's Honor Korsman, who I was actually just about to mention, has a mathematical chance, a significant mathematical chance in the number 90. He's on 267 points. That puts him 33 behind Jack Hare. So when you're talking about that amount of points, I think really what we're going to see is that after the double 30 this evening, David, is when we'll really see who is actually in the title fight. Because as we've seen all the way through this season, and what a fantastic SMRC eSports iRacing Championship it's been all the way through. We're going to see who the real peddlers are going to be as Sam Harper goes quickest on a 1 minute 58.559. Peter Butcher 1 minute 58.789. Gary Brown just a shade under 2 minutes with Jacqueline Chalmers at 2 minutes 4:02 as we now hit the first third. Pretty much completed a qualifying. So I think really, if I'm going to be honest here, the top four are the ones that we're going to really see as the front runners for the title when we go to Mount Panorama in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, and as you touched on there, obviously Ronald Grossman tonight has a mathematical chance. Now that could very well be extinguished after race one, but the important point is that Fraser Williamson, who is immediately ahead of, say, Jack Hare and just behind Lewis Ward, he's the one that is Mr. Inconsistent right now in championship terms. 2 DNFs and 2 nil points through the entire season, and yet still second place in the championship. Lewis Ward has 1 DNF back in round 2, that fateful second race, but Jack Hare and Ron Grossman for the most part have kept their noses clean and still in with a shout.
They look to be there's several drivers that have actually scored points throughout the duration of the season. Lewis Ward and Fraser Williamson, the two leaders separated by 8 points, have had at least 1 DNF. Jack Hare has scored points every single round. Ronald Grossman also has scored points every round. Jordan Gronkowski, if he had been with us last time, would have actually have scored as well, probably all the way through. Martin Buchan has had one DNF, no point score at the second race of round 6. John Lang down in 8th place in the 48. He's also scored every single round this year. So there are some drivers that are making it more consistency. There's more consistency than others. But Fraser Williamson, and we've seen this from day dot when we went racing earlier on, quite a few weeks ago, that he started when we were at Okayama for the season opener. First race, blitz qualifying, put it on pole. And then race 2, we had, I think, one of the most dramatic, controversial racing starts that we've had all season. And he got literally unceremoniously taken out in that one.
Yeah, and it's been amazing watching how the season has progressed, Alex. And I mean, I can't believe that we're already so close to the end of the championship as well. And this is my first iRacing championship that I've been part of with the SMRC in terms of commentary, and I'm blown away by the closeness and the effort and the energy that all of these drivers put into turning up here on a Thursday night.
Very much the case, because just like real life racing, sim racing requires dedication, requires commitment, blood, sweat and tears behind the wheel. And especially with a track like Monza, they're going to be pushing in excess of 140 to 150 miles an hour at certain points in the circuit, especially the run down to turns 1 and 2 as Sam Harper comes very, very wide coming out of the exit of the Ascari chicane. And now the long run down to the Parabolica. There's Jack Hare, who's currently leading qualifying on a 1 minute 57.235, and Ronald Grossman a 1 minute 57.5 flat. Gronkowski, Ward and Williamson, it's pretty close between them, covered by less than 0.4 of a second, make that 0.385. Andrew Hopley, Mr. Two Thumbs Fresh, God, I've missed saying that one. He's the fastest BMW as Lewis Ward goes into the pit lane, but Jack Hare looking to make best his opportunity. He's still within a shout of this championship, and I think, as I said earlier, we're going to see the likes of Ward, Williamson and Hare. They're all in equal machinery. I think it's going to be an absolute dogfight all the way through until Mount Panorama in 2 weeks, mate, because at the end of the day, what we want is a grandstand finale to the championship. We don't want, we would love for it all to go down to the wire and it gets literally decided by a couple of points. But we have seen it before where championships have been decided with a race or two to go. But with the closest between the top 3, I don't think race 1 is going to decide things straight away. I think race 2 is going to is going to lead us down the correct path, so to speak.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on with that prediction there, Alex. We've got lots to imagine how it's going to play out tonight. I mean, we've got two 30-minute races, and I've really enjoyed the variety that we've got as well through the races, because we've had the 1 hour races in amongst the 30-minute races, and I think at Bathurst, I mean, that is just so intense of a track. 30-minute races is going to be bad enough, but for a full hour, I just can't think of what we're actually going to see next week.
Well, considering the fact that just recently, I think it was last Tuesday, I was doing the commentary for the Virtual Reality Racing Club Touring Car E-Series penultimate round, and Bathurst is something that really is it's like an animal that will bite back. You get it wrong at some particular point, going up Mountain Straight, towards like, say, the cutting, McPhillamy Park, Skyline, the Dipper. You get it wrong there, it bites back hard, and that's going to be the real test. And if I'm honest with you, that's the perfect place to have a season finale, because these drivers will know these machines inside and out. But it is about who is going to be the bravest of the brave round there, because if you get too wide through McPhillamy, going down into the Dipper, having gone past through Skyline, it's anybody's opportunity. But I think it's about those that are neat, calm, consistent, and know that they've got the opportunity. That's where we're going to see a different race altogether. And it will be, there'll be drivers that will be going, well, actually, I'm not in the battle for the title. I'm just gonna go throw caution to the wind, and I've got nothing to lose, everything to gain, and that's what we're going to see in 2 weeks' time. Yeah. But then there'll be the 3 or 4 that might be battling away over it. They'll be going, I don't really want to be qualifying in the top 10, because straight away you're in the mid-pack, and that can spell disaster.
And you're going to have a target on your back for sure going in towards that final couple of races. Race 2, for instance, tonight, and then the final race at Bathurst. But we're on board with Lewis Warden going around the circuit, and I'd love to actually take you on board and give you a little play-by-play, because we're coming up to Variante Ascari just now, and then it is on the long straight down to the Parabolica, my favourite turn that I always mess up in both GT3 and GT4 cars alike, and then we start another climb up. 12 minutes gone in qualifying here for round 7 of the SMRC iRacing Summer Championship, and Lewis Ward now down into 5th place, because Jordan Gronkowski, Fraser Williamson, Ron Grossman and Jack Eyre have bumped him down by just 1, 2, 3 tenths of a second. So here we go then to along the start-finish straight, and I love the term booting it down the start-finish straight, and we're not going to get an onboard lap with Lewis Ward, are we? We decided to give it up on that one. I think a lot of the drivers are going to have decided that is enough. Kieran Smart now, Alex, one of the few remaining BMWs in the top 10.
Yeah, very much the case. If we could get a speedo readout, I'd be interested to see what the tachometer is now. That's nearly 250 kilometers an hour. That's going to be pushing around 160, heading into the Variante del Retafilio, or Retafilio chicane. But then coming out of it, it's going to go through second, up into third. Keep on board with him at the moment, up to fourth. And he's now going to go through what's known as Curva Grande, and that's pushing around 200 kph. That's 125 miles an hour going through. And then under the slight bridge into the Variante della Roggia, which is the second chicane before you get the double rights, known as the Lesmo Uno and Lesmo Due here at Monza. And up, I think he'll manage to shift up to fourth. Then about 50 metres out, he'll drop down to third, 130 k's on the apex. And then it's a short blast up, back up to fourth, then down back to third, heavy on the brakes, taking as much as the apex as you dare, run a little bit wide coming through, then it's through the Staraglio curve, which is basically effectively very much like the Parabolica, the current version of the Hockenheim ring, as now he's going to hit over 150, just going under the bridge, through into Variante Ascari. Now he's going to go down into third gear, 125 kilometres an hour through the first part of the entry, And then coming through the exit at fourth gear, nearly 180 kilometers an hour. Looks to be a pretty good lap, as now he'll head towards Curva Parabolica for the final time, as we've got less than 40 seconds. So he breaks from around 245 in fifth gear down to third. And it's just over 70 miles an hour through the entry of that corner as he makes the apex, powers out of it. Fourth gear, now up into fifth at 125 miles an hour. Let's see if Kieran Smart does improve. And he slows before. That's weird. He just slowed before he went across the start-finish line.
I think he of course, a lot of the drivers have got onboard telemetry and onboard deltas, so they know in advance that it's just not going to happen. But we've got two cars still left on the track, Cameron Ritchie and Sean Dobie, and that is it. So we will have a little look at your grids for race number 1 then. In pole position, Jack Eyre alongside Ronald Grossman. Row 2 is going to be Fraser Williamson and Lewis Ward. Row 3 is Jordan Gronkowski and Andrew Hopley. Row 4 is going to be Adam Brown alongside Martin Buchan. Peter Butcher is on row 5 with Kieran Smart, and then Peter Moore alongside Sam Harper 11th and 12th. After that, Alex.
So 13th and 14th, row 7, that's John Lang from Missed Apex Racing Team and Vic Covey in the 48 and 7. They ran at row 7, Michael Weddle in the 17 and Anil Singh from Missed Apex in the 42. That's row number 8. Gary Brown in the 87 and Scott Smith in the 101. That's row 9 with Tom Jones in the 24 and Ian Erasmus in the 808 from Missed Apex Racing Team, completing the top 20. Then completing the 24 strong that will be racing around here at the Temple of Speed, Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. Jacqueline Chalmers in the 3, Cameron Ritchie in the 27, Sean Dobie in the 159, and last but by no means least, Grant Angus in the number 23 Porsche.
Well, what are we thinking? What do we think is going to happen? Jack Eyre, of course, on pole, was a race winner last time out, and he'll be looking for more of the same tonight, Alex.
Yeah, well, I think, if you've come into a race like Monza, one of the biggest things that you've got to have in here is confidence. And you've got to have the motivation. By having that win, Jack Eyre will just be spurred on quite significantly as a result of it. But one of the biggest things that we have here at Monza is a completely different proposition from the last time out. It's now the Porsche safety car brings them underneath the bridge, so we're going to have a very, very short formation which will start through the Variante Ascari, but it's full throttle and it's heavy braking zones, and if you get it wrong around here at Monza, you won't just compromise yourself, you might compromise other people's races. So imagine if we have and we know for a fact that we've seen it before, that we've had Rettifilio chicane incidents. Let's wait to see how the dust settles after turn 1 is all I'm thinking here, because I don't know what's going to happen. We've got 2 30-minute races. We're at the Temple of Speed. Speed's in excess of 150 miles an hour in GT4 machinery. This is going to be a
scruffy warm-up lap that we're having just now. A lot of spaces. You'd think that the cars would be very, very close together, Alex.
I think at Monza you've got to put in that added bit of window, that safety net. As now they come through Parabolica, the Porsche safety car will pull to the right-hand side and enter the pits. Then it will be down to Jack Eyre and Ronald Grossman in the 13 and the 90. Let's just see. The Porsche 911 pulls into the pit lane. Lights ready to go out when they go racing, as it looks like they're getting up to full speed here at Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. Red lights on the gantry. And what a fly Jack Eyre has got, as have we gone lights out, we're off and away. And it looks like Fraser Williams got a really good run towards the inside of Ronald Grossman into the Rettifilio for the first time. But now, Grossman still in second, and is that... Now, that isn't Martin Buchan. I think that might be Lewis Ward alongside Fraser Williamson. But Jack Eyre there, David, got an absolute flyer of a start.
Yeah, he certainly did. Ian Erasmus facing the wrong way on the entrance to the chicane, and Sam Harper caught up in that one as well. So yeah, Jack Hare has had an absolute stormer of a start. He is well and truly off into the distance right now. Ronald Grossman trying to stick with him, but look at that cracking little battle right now going on behind as Lewis Ward is desperately fighting off Andrew Hopley right now.
Yeah, I'm liking the livery now on Andrew Hopley's car. Very, very colourful there. But yeah, I mean, Hopley, I think, at the end of the day, the BMWs, when you get the hammer down in the M4 GT4s, they tend to really do respond pretty well, especially with straight line speed. And this is where it's going to come into play for the BMW, because when you look at the aerodynamics, the Porsche is a lot more slippery than the BMW. So what Andrew Hopley has to do now is use strategy, and very wise strategy, I might add, because Lewis Ward is punching the hole in the dirty air. And Andrew Hopley is the one that's going to profit. Now, obviously, the BMW M4 as a road car is pretty quick, but as a race car, it is a bit disadvantaged in its aerodynamic properties.
Yeah, it's what they call a chunky boy, isn't it? It is not smallest.
I think if you call the Porsche 718 Cayman a dart, you'd probably call the BMW M4 GT4 a brick in quite clear comparison.
Well, it is a fast brick nonetheless, because look at that, he is right on the tail of Lewis Ward for that battle for 4th place, and we are already one lap into this 30-minute race. It's going to be side by side on the run down towards turn number 1 as they head down to Prima Variante, and he's got the move done already, might have already moved into 3rd place as well. Fraser Williamson just ahead of Andrew Hopley, but yeah, that was a nice little move, very, very clean and tidy, and it looks like Fraser Williamson, Alex, looking to pressure Ronald Grossman.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a decisive move, that if Williamson gets ahead of Grossman.
Oh no, Alex, something you need to say.
Oh no. And it involves Michael Weddle. Oh, but then look, the number 48 of John Lang is clattered into the barriers. So, now Martin, was that Martin Buchan going through?
No, Martin's further up the field.
So that might have been someone like maybe Cameron Ritchie or Sean Dobie getting through. But now you can see that because of the fact that Williamson is battling away with Grossman, look how close Andrew Hopley is. I did say that the Porsche has got better aerodynamics. I mean, that's why it's such a prestigious race car, and how come it's so successful. But the BMW, it's only been out since 2018, and it's giving the Porsche a run for its money. And when you think about it, you've only had Andrew Hopley, Kieran Smart, Scott Smith, and also, let's not forget, Chris Knox. They have all stuck with the BMW throughout their races. And Andrew Hopley looks to be really capitalising. Oh, that's a great move up the of Ronald Grossman through the parabolica by Fraser Williamson. But what this is allowing, look who's closing quickly. Andrew Hopley. And if he decides to make it through Brest, he's going to be a very brave man going into the Retafilio. He must have heard me. He must have heard me. I cannot believe that. He's got past Fraser Williamson. Will he get 2 into 1 going into the Retafilio? Oh, that's close. And Grossman jumps over the sausage curbs. It compromises Hopley. Williamson to the outside, but if I'm honest with you, the way that Grossman went over those curbs, that is a bit of an advantage he just gained there. So realistically, Hopley should get that 2nd place position. And what Grossman has done is actually gone very wide and through in between Williamson.
Yeah, so Grossman has had a slow down penalty. He's had to give up the time gains.
Yeah, but that's Lewis Ward. Lewis Ward just went through quite literally like a freight train past Fraser Williamson, and now is up into 3rd place. That was brilliantly timed there.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Meanwhile, Jack Hare 2 seconds up to the good of this just melee that is going on right now. And talking of melees, there is an absolute ding-dong battle going on right now as Vic Covey has retired from the race. Vic Covey looks like he's had a bit of a moment, had to go into pit lane.
Oh, and there's been a bit of a moment for, looks like Grant Angus in the 23 having another moment. We did see a brief amount of practice, and the 23 Porsche not having a good run there. I think there was also a bit of an off-track moment for Jacqueline Chalmers. They were battling around about 15th position, but Jacqueline Chalmers still out on the road at the moment. But yeah, I mean,
wow. Look at this gap from first to fifth place. Jack Hare is actually being drawn in by second place of Andrew Hopley there. The gap was 2.4 seconds. It's now down to 1.2 seconds.
Well, Jack Hare has just put in a 1 minute 57.79. Andrew Hopley is on the move. He's just put in a 1 minute 57.05. He's just done a 158.174. It's about a tenth and a bit slower.
But that's with that incident at turn 1 as well, which cost him at least 3 seconds. Yeah,
very true. But, I mean, look at it now. Andrew Hopley, that gap is fluctuating anywhere between 9 tenths and 1.3. We've
got drama at turn 1. That is Kieran Smart and Peter Moore that has been caught up in that one. That is Kieran Smart having to take to the escape road, Alex.
Yeah, through the Retafilio, he basically straight-lined it. So let's have a look. They've got the 82 there, and that is of Peter Butcher. Martin Buchan just behind, and Buchan tries to go through. Oh, tags the back of Kieran Smart, and then Peter Butcher goes off to the right-hand side, and Kieran Smart's got nowhere to go. Martin Buchan, I think, just was a bit too hot on the brakes going into the Retafilio, and that compromised both Kieran Smart and Peter Butcher. But Butcher, I think, has quite literally got away with that. He's got a get out of jail free card there, up into 8th place ahead of Peter Moore, with Martin Buchan rounding out the top 10.
Wow, what a race we've had, and we're only 7 minutes into this penultimate round of the championship. Race 1 of 2 tonight, 2 30-minute races.
I'm sorry,
some flashing of lights.
I know, that's...
Oh no, it wasn't. That was Fraser Williamson and Ronald Grossman.
Yeah, well, he's got Ronald Grossman just up ahead in the number 90. Has Fraser Williamson as Grossman runs wide coming out of the final part of the Ascari chicane. Williamson alongside, and just up ahead they've got Adam Brown in the number 16. Lewis Ward is about half a second away from this battle, and this is the scrap for 4th, 5th and 6th as Grossman up the inside of Williamson through the first part of Parabolica, but let's see if Williamson gets the cutback as Grossman runs wide coming out of the corner. Williamson going to the right-hand side of the number 90 and looks to have gotten a good run coming out of the corner. The pair are nearly side by side coming across the start-finish line. As we're now on to our 5th lap of confrontation, let's say, here at the Temple of Speed in Monza.
Ooh, and that's putting it very, very mildly. Huge move up the inside there for, that looked like Adam Brown, who just braked way too early. Ron Grossman caught out by that, and that's put him way back behind. Fraser Williamson's going to have him round the outside here.
Yeah, going through Curva Grande. This is not exactly this is one of the bravest places you can take an outside stance going towards an overtake. But yeah, Adam Brown, I think, just got into the corner. Ronald Grossman, I think, just completely misjudged the braking points. And then also, through the Variante della Roggia, loses out big time as John Gronkowski in the 33 goes round the outside of the number 90 into the first Lesmo. This is going to be very, very tight. But Gronkowski keeps the power down. Round towards the outside through into the second Lesmo. And Grossman slots in behind the number 33. But that was completely messy from Grossman through the Variante della Roggia through the second half and actually walloped the sausage curves with the front tyres. And it launched the front of the Porsche skywards. And that meant he lost out to both Williamson and Gronkowski within around 3 to 4 corners there, David.
Yeah, and it's difficult to say that because once you make one mistake, quite a few more are quick to follow, and the flash of lights there from Adam Brown over onto Lewis Ward there. Question from our good buddy Edward Porter to both of us, and that is, what car would you pick, the BMW or the Porsche that you would use in race?
I'd go with the BMW. I've grown up with the brand from a young age. I do love Weissach's finest, but for me, Munich beats in my heart, my friend.
That's a very good answer. I have to say I'd go with the BMW as well, just purely because I find the Porsche is a little bit too sketchy on handling wise for my liking, and I prefer something a little bit more stable underneath me, and that's certainly what you get with the BMW. You get the raw power. So yeah, BMW for me all day. Grant Angus has heard the wars again, and this looks like it's on the entrance to the chicane. And let's see,
Yeah,
has he just lost it under brake it? Oh, 2 wheels off.
Yeah, he's done a bit of a Knight Rider job there through the mid part of the Ascari chicane and then goes over the sausage curves for good measure, but at least he's still running. But Lewis Ward now coming under salvo fire. Looks like Andrew Hopley's trying to fire a warning shot over the bow of that 718 Cayman. But it's good to see that Andrew Hopley being able to fight at the top, the sharp end of the field. And let's not forget, he was only at one point 9/10 of a second away from Jack Eyre, who continues to lead and is now 3 seconds up the road from this battle.
Yeah, and it's just to give some context for viewers that maybe didn't catch the earlier part of the season, when Alex says about, stuck with the BMW, there was a point in the first 3 races where they hadn't got the same balance of performance that the Porsches had, and they were at a significant disadvantage early on in the season, Alex, weren't they?
Yeah, I think a lot of drivers decided to switch to it. I mean, I remember Logan in the BMW switched to the Porsche. There were quite a few drivers that decided to, because the BMW had only been introduced to iRacing just before the SMRC eSports iRacing Championship got underway. However, through the due diligence of iRacing, and big thank you to the Turner Automotive Race Team who run this car over in IMSA at the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, there have been patches, so the BMWs have been improved, and it's brought them onto a bit more of a level pegging with the Porsche. But the Porsche, has been around a little bit longer than the BMW, which in real life was introduced by BMW Motorsport in Munich, in München, as they call it, not Munich. Sorry, I have to be a bit fastidious with my German pronunciations there. But
I was going to say, you more than anybody need to be.
Yeah, because it's not BMW, it's BMW, and then it's Motorsport. Sorry, the inner eighth German of me is coming out on an SMRC broadcast.
Oh, we have a big. Well, it's saying here. I don't know if this is what's happened. It's saying here, Lewis Ward crashed. So what's happened here? He's just been tapped. That's what's happened there. So he's had a little bit of a love tap from behind. Oh, he's went straight on. That's what's happened.
He's gone straight on. Yeah.
And he's dropped down to 4th place.
Which means that the leading BMW is Andrew Hopley
back up in second place.
But then look where Fraser Williamson is. He's not that far behind the BMW.
Not that far behind at all. Look at that. Literally right on his tail. Oh, and the pressure is already starting to get to Andrew Hopley, because we know this man is fast, and we know that he's going to be putting him under intense pressure. And I tell you what man that is going to be looking in his rear view mirrors now, Jack Eyre. Yeah,
considering the fact that 3 of the top 4 are battling away for the overall title. At the end of the day, I think with regards to Andrew Hopley, he just wants to be the best BMW out of this field, and he's doing a cracking job at the moment. Look how defensive he's gone on Fraser Williamson as they come down the main straightaway, heading towards the Rettifilia. Look at the front bumper of Williamson's car. That has been absolutely sewed in good and proper. That's got a proper good old... It's like someone has thrown Thor's hammer and it's hit the middle of the bumper, straight square, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is, and that's a good move from Andrew Hopley to respectfully give that position to Fraser Williamson. Fraser made the move up the inside, and again, it was up to those drivers if they wanted to force the issue. Andrew decides discretion's a better part of valour and allows Fraser Williamson. I've got to be honest, I think Fraser now is going to make hay while the sun shines on that one and head off into the distance, but we'll see what happens through the race. Let's have a look further down the grid, because I think we need to have a look past 10th place. Kieran Smart in 10th place, closely followed by Martin Buchan, the pink menace in that pink Porsche. Scott Smith doing a grand job in 12th place as well. He's just had a really consistent season in sort of between 10th to 14th place there, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, Martin Buchan, the menace behind the wheel of the Pink Panther. That's effectively what that Porsche has been all season long. But yeah, Scott Smith, I mean, we've seen some great performances from him. Obviously, he really started to shine when the adjustments were made after the first software patch amendment for the BMW M4 GT4. And he really enjoyed some of the racing that we had in some of the earlier rounds as he gets nearly 2 wheels up in the air on the left-hand side, going through the exit of the Ascari chicane, as now we have the number 42 of Anil Singh trying to close on the 24 of Tom Jones.
Oh, and Jordan Gronkowski is off the track. He's had an incident with Andrew Hopley, and there's been an absolute melee has happened here. Let's see if we can have a look here. So has Jordan possibly outbroken himself and hit some of the other cars? He has, and he's taken out 2 cars. That is very unlike Jordan Gronkowski.
Adam Brown was the other one in the number 16 because he was just... well, it wasn't him. Let's just have a look. Just trying to kick. It was Lewis Ward. It was Lewis Ward that was just up ahead in the 98. One of the 3 championship protagonists. He's taken out. Oh my goodness me. Jordan Gronkowski, I think, completely missed a breaking point. And I know for a fact that this completely changes the complexity of the championship, because this is now, look at it this way. Lewis Ward now is down in 14th position, having originally started P4. Jacquez in first, Fraser Williamson in second, and Ronald Korsman rounds out the top 3. Gronkowski, I think, will not be flavour of the evening after that particular manoeuvre, and I'm not too sure what happened there, but I think he just went in there way too hot, and Lewis Ward now has 13 minutes to try and gain some points back. But if I'm honest here, David, Lewis Ward, he was actually leading the point standing coming into this ahead of Fraser Williamson. So now it's actually turned a bit more in the favour of Fraser Williamson and Jack Eyre, and now brings Ronald Korsman into the mix. So Lewis Ward is going to have to fight tooth and nail, and you can see the left front corner of that Porsche. The left front hit the wall after he was turned around. So he's now got to do damage limitation. It is about measuring how you move forward, and he's a little bit far behind Anil Singh in the 42, who's currently 13th. But I think it's just about getting to the finish and just scoring points, because when we get to race 2 after this is where we're really going to see what's going to happen with the top 3 or 4 drivers going into the final round 2 weeks from now. And I did say that something could change, and that moment involving Jordan Gronkowski has completely changed everything. And now Martin Buchan is up ahead of Peter Moore going into the Rettifidio chicane. And in this particular instance, the leading BMW is no longer Andrew Hopley as a result of that incident going through Parabolica. It's now Kieran Smart in 5th place.
Yeah, so much to digest after all of that. And the first thing is that we've seen Jordan week in, week out. And more drama behind, because we've got Sam Harper crashing into Tom Jones and Anil Singh. That is on the entry to turn 1, and Lewis Ward's all the way at the back of that group there. He has got significant damage, but it's so difficult because 3 cars that were in contention there, and my issue is that Lewis Ward was the fastest man on the track through that first part of the race. 1:57.64 was Lewis's fastest time, and that eclipses anything that any of the drivers have been able to do since.
I mean, Fraser Williamson was the closest to that with a 1:57.70. Jack Eyre was nowhere near. He was about nigh on 3/10 off. So we're just over 3/10 off of Lewis Ward, who really is now going to be the one that's we've really got to keep an eye on, because we're going into the final 10 minutes. And now it is all kicking off with everyone, as we're now on board with Scott Smith in 9th place as they're coming out of the Ascari chicane. So he's just behind Martin Buchan. Half a second up the road from Martin Buchan is Jordan Gronkowski. Then you've got Peter Moore and then Kieran Smart. So this is the battle for effectively 5th to 11th position. Now literally in a train as Jack Eyre goes in and puts in 1:58.459. Fraser Williamson, 6.3 seconds off. Ronald Korsman rounding out the top 3. Adam Brown in 4th. Kieran Smart in 5th place. So, I think between 5th and 11th, if anything happens there, and I'm going to say this now, if anything happens there, then Lewis Ward will have an opportunity to get back towards the top 10, which will help save his bacon a little bit, but hopefully maybe for race 2 we can see Lewis Ward fight back again and bring the fight to Jack Eyre, Fraser Williamson, and Ronald Horseman.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate way to have to do that for sure, and I'm got no doubt that we'll hear more about that throughout the race here. But going back to what we've got on track just now, cracking race still going on with just 10 minutes left to go, and for these all important points, Fraser Williamson, that gap now down to just under 6 seconds, but I do think that Jack Eyre is managing that gap very, very well. And further behind though, it is a proper melee going on, because Kieran Smart is very quickly getting caught up by Peter Moore. Peter Moore, I'm pretty sure this is one of Peter Moore's best efforts through the season. I mean, this is unheard of, being in the top 6, and we've normally seen him struggling towards the back end of the top 20.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just having a look at Peter Moore's results this season. He hasn't scored, well, his best score was actually last time out in race 2, where he scored his best amount of points, 20, and now he's trying to chase down Kieran Smart, and he's less than half a second adrift as we go into the last 8.5 minutes. So, yeah, Peter Moore, he scored 2 points in the first race at round 1 at Okayama, 0 in race 2, and then 16 in race in the second round of the season. Then it was a 0 yet again.
Oh, so what a huge moment for Scott Smith. He's come into contact with Andrew Hopley, and Andrew Hopley's night goes from bad to worse, and Andrew Hopley is retired from the race. Let's see what on earth happened there. They were fighting for position. That's Andrew Hopley on the inside of the corner, Scott Smith on the outside. The two of them touch, and it sends Andrew off into the wall at careening high speed. Scott Smith manages to live and get back onto the track, but yeah, that is hard lines there.
Yeah, unfortunately for Andrew Hopley, that was a case of the right front suspension upright, bottom suspension arm and the wheel literally going asunder, and that car was completely written off after that hefty whack in the wall. But yeah, I mean, you also had the number 82 there of Peter Butcher. So, Butcher was trying to, I think, pressurise Hopley, and I think whether Hopley got a bit panicky as a result, or whether Scott Smith tried to do something there, but it's down to the clerk of the course to decide what the outcome of that one is. But I'm sure that Andrew Hopley will come back fighting with the bit between the teeth for race 2. But there we have Kieran Smart still being hunted down by Peter Moore, who hasn't really made an indent on the BMW at the moment, is he?
No, he's brought the gap down, but he's not really been able to attack in any real sense. And if anything, it's just bringing Jordan Gronkowski into the mix here, as Lewis Ward looks to be having even more troubles facing backwards onto the track. And my goodness me, his night is gone from bad to worse as well. And he's going to be very, very lucky to get anything back from this race. And that looks like Ian Erasmus is going to be going past him as well, dropping poor Lewis Ward all the way down into what looks like 16th place just now. Yeah,
that must have just been as a result of the compromised damage, as now Ronald Grossman has gone. Have you seen the lap time from Ronald Grossman? He was nearly 6 tenths quicker than Fraser Williamson. So Williamson now knows, I think, pretty much that the way things are going is that the fight is going to be between Jack Eyre and Fraser Williamson in terms of what's going to happen. But it's about how Lewis Ward comes back from this, and it's always it's always about how people can fight back from a difficult situation. As two wheels up in the air. A run wide from Fraser Williamson going into the Valiante della Roggia, the second half of it. That nearly put him into the path of, as now we got Tom Jones. Okay, so we got Anil Smith, Anil Singh, Scott Smith, and then the 24 of Tom Jones. So this is coming through the Rettifilio, and then
he's just went straight on. Yeah, so he's obviously missed the corner. Peter Moore and John Gronkowski have crashed.
Oh my goodness me! Round the outside of Kieran Smart, and Gronkowski tags the right rear and turns around.
My problem
Oh,
with that is that Jordan appears to have kept the foot in through that. Let's take another quick look at that again.
I want to see that from a different angle, so if we can.
Let's
But
see.
yeah,
I will go on board with Jordan on
yeah,
that.
I've just seen it. Like literally, if you just we'll just rewind it briefly. So Kieran Smart's on the perfect racing line. Gronkowski to the inside of Peter Moore keeps it stuck in. That gap was being closed, and if I'm completely honest, Jordan Gronkowski was not alongside Peter Moore enough to make that move.
Oh, this has just been a bad night, and Jordan's gone off again. He's struggled to get that car, the huge damage that he's had done to that, and that has just not been his night at all. Look at that, back end goes and straight into the wall. Ow! That is going to be a visit to the chiropractor.
I think that's going to be the physiotherapist as well, and maybe some acupuncture might be needed, virtually speaking. But still, Peter Moore circulating in eighth place, without a rear windscreen, without a rear wing, let alone a rear deck lid on the back of that 718 Cayman. So Jordan Gronkowski, definitely, as you said, you can see the rear windscreen flapping in the breeze on the back of that.
It's fine, you know.
It's like, we brought
bit of duct tape, mate. Bit of speed tape, it'll be fine. And Jordan's gone off again, I think, from the looks of it. Oh no, that's just the second one.
I think, if I'm honest, it's Vizak's new aerodynamic properties on a revised version of the 718 Cayman as Anil Singh goes past Jordan Gronkowski rather easily, but obviously with the amount of damage on the front of that Porsche, that definitely has been stoved in a little bit, let's say.
Yeah, it's not been the best. Right, Fraser Williamson getting a little bit loose here. He's got Ronald Grossman still 0.7 of a second just behind him as we come up to the tail end of race number 1. 2.5 minutes left to go. And one thing that we do have to speak about, of course, that we haven't mentioned so far, Alex, is of course the fact that we'll be making the decision today on the Torque driver of the day. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm delighted to be able to share that responsibility with you again tonight.
Well, it makes a change from last time because I wasn't around.
I had to field the wrath all by myself on that one.
That's why I felt my ears burning a couple of weeks ago. Definitely already some early candidates coming into this, and I'm not going to reveal who those are, but there are some people that have actually stood out this evening. As we've got just under 2 minutes remaining of the first of the double 30s here at Monza, but still, Fraser Williamson. I think one of the biggest things here is that even though Jack Eyre is nearly 8 seconds up the road from the 369 Porsche, Williamson's just doing what he needs to do, which is just score points and just make sure that Lewis Ward, this effectively will mean, I think, just by an assumptive calculation, that Fraser Williamson will then retake the lead because, Lewis Ward now down in 16th position. That's quite a big lead that now Williamson will have. But when you look at it from another perspective, this means that Jack Eyre will effectively go into second. Ronald Grossman might end up in third. I'm just going to have to get the points. So at the moment, I think if memory serves me correctly, it was 311 that Lewis Ward came into this evening with.
Yeah, that's right.
303 for Fraser Williamson, 300 for Jack Eyre. Ronald Grossman was on 267. Luckily enough, I have my SMRC Summer eSports Challenge bits and bobs, including points. But we've got, it looks like we're now going to go on to the final lap for Jack Eyre in the number 13 as he crosses it with 20 seconds to go on the clock. Still a pretty healthy lead between him and...
Yeah, it certainly is. That's 7.7 seconds that Jack Eyre is ahead of Fraser Williamson right now. And just looking further down the order there, Anil Singh with a cracking move on Scott Smith to take that 10th place away just at the very last, and they've got about another 9 turns in which to get this sorted, because they're just coming across the start-finish straight just now. But what a race it's been, and what an unusual race in terms of attrition, Alex. We've seen it's normally race 2 that you get a lot of retirements from, but we've had, what's that, about 8 cars or 7 cars that are not going to cross the finish line.
Yeah, a big rate of attrition, especially at a circuit like Monza. It does normally separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak, but you know, it's quite interesting how things can change. David, who took pole position? Was it Jack Air, was it?
It was Jack Air that took pole position, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Well, this is how I've just worked things out. It has changed. It's not Fraser Williamson that will end up on the lead of the standings come the end of this race. Because effectively, it is... So, I'm just trying to remind myself of who... So, we had Fraser Williamson took pole position. No, Fraser Williamson took second, didn't he, in pole?
Yeah, it was Jack that had pole position.
And Lewis Ward, I think, was 4th after that, so that would net him 2 points. And then I think was it Ronald Grossman that was 3rd in quali?
Yeah, it sounds about right, and we're about to find out, because out the final turn for the final time in this first race is going to be a race win for Jack Air. 8 seconds, and it's a strong, dominant performance. That is a marker set down for the championship for sure, as Fraser Williamson comes across the line in 2nd place, Ronald Grossman in 3rd, Adam Brown in 4th, and Kieran Smart in 5th place. Martin Buchan, a fantastic finish for him. He's going to go across the line in 6th place. Very, very good fight between him and Peter Butcher, and then it's Peter Moore, the well, what's left of that car, that Porsche. I'm not sure that the showroom are going to be too happy with the state that thing comes back in. Finishes in 8th place. Tom Jones is going to go across the line in 9th place, and then Anil Singh pipping Scott Smith to the post for 10th place. And then it's John Gronkowski, a very, very embattled John Gronkowski tonight, in 12th place, just ahead of Jacqueline Chalmers, who finishes a fantastic 13th place. Ian Erasmus doing a great job there, is going to come round the final corner for 14th, and then P15 is going to be Sean Dobie, but Lewis Ward, I mean, your heart really goes out to Lewis tonight. It's been a very, very difficult night. Yeah,
I mean, to be honest with you, with the fact that he came into this as the leader in the standings, he now actually drops to 3rd place, because my calculations after qualifying and also the first race here at Monza, Jack Air now takes the standings lead on 340 points. Fraser Williamson just 3 adrift on 337. Lewis Ward drops to 3rd with 323 points, and then 30 points behind him is Ronald Grossman. So effectively, this title is far from done. But Jack Air, you know, polling qualifying, so that's a maximum of 40 points there. It's going to be about what happens now. Race 2, I think really the way things are, you know, we've got another 35 points, so you've got 105 points. And if now effectively Ronald Grossman is now 47 points behind Jack Air. And that's how close the top 4 are, David. And if I'm honest, if Ronald Grossman is 71 points behind the leader in the championship, his title aspirations are done and dusted come the end of race 2 here at Monza.
Tragic news, and we say goodbye then to the title hopes for Ronald Grossman officially. And it leaves 3 contenders for the championship: Lewis Ward, Fraser Williamson and Jack Air. How will it pan out? We're going to find out the next story of tonight's chapter in just a minute's time.
maybe I was wrong, even once wasn't anything. Yeah, I could say that you didn't need any part of me. Yeah, maybe it's not me, you should be the one on your knees. So if we had another chance, I would never let you steal my life.
Welcome back then to the virtual recreation of Italy as we get set to head back to Monza, and a fantastic second race is on the cards tonight. It's David Christie alongside Alex Goldsmith here for race number 2 on round 7 of the SMRC eSports iRacing Championship. And Alex, before I bring you back in, I've got a little bit of something to tell you, right? So you know how I'm obviously on the Facebooks and I'm chatting to one of our good friends, Michael Weddle, and I swear to goodness he messages me at 8:15 after qualifying. I have all the pace. I'm rapido. Michael, that didn't really work out too well for you, buddy, did it? What do you put that down to? Just were they just intimidated of your raw power? Oh, that's now. Come on, you are an SMRC representative. You can't be throwing bombs like that left, right, and centre, son. If there's not carnage in turn one, is it Monza? Such lofty expectations. Oh wow! Yeah, certainly is. Well, listen, thank you very much, Michael. We are in the final 30 seconds of warm up, so we will politely kick you out of the waiting room and wish you all the very best for your second race tonight so you can go and concentrate on that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are just 15 seconds away from race number 2, and we will have the grid for you for race number 2 in just a couple of seconds' time. I am very, very excited. I don't know about you, Alex.
then it's Peter Butcher in the 82, Martin Buchan in the 35, followed by Kieran Smart in the 39, and Adam Brown in the 16, completing the top 12. David, the rest of the grid is yours, my friend.
Thank you very much, and I must apologise. I had a monumental clangor there, Alex, because nobody heard anything. I may have forgot to unmute both yourself and Michael, so for the past 10 minutes, past 5 minutes, I've been speaking to myself. We will get Michael back in. We will redo that interview.
So don't worry. David hasn't gone insane.
Yeah, just talking to myself. Right, 13th place on the grid, Ronald Grossman. 14th place is Fraser Williamson. 15th place is Jack Eyre. Lewis Warden, 16th. John Lang alongside Cameron Ritchie. Sam Harper alongside Gary Brown. Michael Weddle alongside Andrew Hopley. And then at the back of the grid, it is Grant Angus. And that is your grid. Let us get to the track because we are about to go racing. Whew, we got there. Right, never mind. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. Thank you very much, by the way, to Mark Winus, who actually pointed that one out in chat. So, we are away to the back half of the circuit. We've just gone through the Variante Ascari, and we are on the back stretch towards the Curva Parabolica. Sean Dobie has got the unwelcome task of leading these lot out. Alex, I'm scared. Are you? I'll take that as a yes. So we are getting ready to go green here. The Porsche safety car is going to pull off, and it goes to Sean Dobie and Ian Erasmus to lead the field around. We have not seen the best of starts through the championship, and yeah, let's get this done. Here we go then. 30 minutes. Again, kick off, and Sean Dobie leads the cars down, and it looks like a decent start. Ian Erasmus already side by sides, and it's a 3-car battle going in towards turn 1. And Sean Dobie's already been swallowed up whole as Ian Erasmus has to take to the escape road there, and Gronkowski is taken to the lead. Meanwhile, all hell is breaking loose. Sam Harper dropping to the back of the field, and Alex, I've just noticed. Here we go. Welcome back, Alex. I wondered if you'd deliberately done that there.
Yeah, well, that was my fault, not yours. Jacqueline Chalmers did go a bit straight liney through the Retifilio chicane.
Oh, there's contact. Martin Buchan involved in that, and all hell breaks loose.
Oh, gets hit from behind, and I think also the 42 I think there was Anil Singh was involved there. Vic Covey in the walls again, retiring last time out, but look who's in second now. Scott Smith in the 101 is everyone. It's quite funny now that Michael Weddle might have the last laugh in just a few positions time, because he's now currently 13th trying to chase down John Lang and Kieran Smart, as now Scott Smith has gone absolutely hell for leather defensive on Peter Moore, and manages to keep it whilst the back end of the BMW goes sideways through the second part of the Variante Ascari. Leading this train is now Jordan Gronkowski, looking to make up for his misdemeanours last time out. Now leads by nearly 4 seconds, as we haven't even completed lap number 1, as Peter Butcher looking up the inside through the first part of the Parabolica on Sean Dobie, but then Fraser Williamson, nearly trying to go through the middle of both Anil Singh and Fraser Williamson, like a man possessed, is absolutely flying at the moment in the 369 Porsche. And just up ahead, he's got the 16 of Adam Brown. Now, this is quite a pivotal moment in the championship, because look where Jack Eyre is. He's currently in 8th place. That will net him 18 points. Fraser Williamson is currently now in 6th position. That now makes it even Steven in the championship standings between Fraser Williamson and Jack Eyre. Well, actually, no. It puts Fraser Williamson a point ahead, because effectively, I'm just going to do these calculations as we carry on through the race. As Fraser Williamson now is in 6th, that will put him on 357 points. Jack Eyre just 1 position behind That now drops the gap to 2 points in favour of Jack Eyre, as now Fraser Williamson. Now, yeah, this is going to be a real pain in the backside for me for this penultimate race of the season.
I would hold on to that thought, because you're going to need a pencil and a rubber and a very large piece of paper to do all these calculations, as Jack Eyre and Fraser Williamson duking it out side by side, Alex. But if you're wanting to call the points on this one, good luck to you, buddy, because I don't envy your task tonight.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, this means that Jack Eyre will have a 3-point advantage over Fraser Williamson. So now I've put my initial benchmark down on the piece of paper. The pen is staying by the right-hand side of it. Until the end of the race, that is.
Famous last words there, I think.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm more interested in what's happening between Peter and Adam Brown, who are 3rd and 4th, just behind the lovely BMW colours of that M4 GT4 in the hands of Scott Smith, who is still keeping 2nd position. And when you look at it also, Adam Brown has just set the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 57.925, as Peter Moore comes out of the tow, heading through into the Retzafilio chicane. This is the battle for 2nd position. Moore to the... Oh, now that's a very, very nicely switched back move there by Peter Moore to go up the inside of Scott Smith, who now looks to be losing out to Adam Brown, who's going to go towards the outside. Smith goes defensive. Brown goes towards the right-hand side through Curva Grande, but can't get past the BMW. But what this is also doing, David, look just behind, you've got Jack Eyre and Fraser Williamson embroiled in that battle for P5.
Yeah, and this is setting itself up very, very nicely. And look at that, Fraser Williamson makes a move to the outside of Jack Eyre, and he's done it. Fraser Williamson moved back up ahead of Jack Eyre there, so cracking move there. And Tom Jones has come into a mischief on the outside, it looks like. Let's see, or is that in the inside to the first chicane?
That's Andrew Hopley, and that's through... Oh, no, that's through Ascari.
He's just straight-lined it, that's all he's done, that's fine.
Yeah, and... Wow! That was a close rejoin, nearly tagging the wall. Oh, my goodness me. That was very, very close indeed, as now Scott Smith again goes defensive.
Oh, Scott Smith loses it and takes out Peter Moore!
Oh, would you believe that?
2 wheels onto the grass.
Oh, that was such... Right, no, yeah, he's just lost it. The right rear hits the grass, the back end starts stepping out, and he's just got no... He's just a passenger from that moment. And Peter Moore was in 2nd. And then you see a swarm of cars go past, like at least 8 cars, past the duo of them. As it's another turn, round 2 in the wall on the left-hand side, and the exit of the Ascari chicane, one of which is Tom Jones, the other one is Sean Dobie, who started from reverse grid pole.
Well, that is absolute heartbreak right now for those drivers. You see Martin Buchan in the background as well there.
Yeah, well, that wasn't Martin Buchan, but look, Scott Smith now coming into the pits. I think he's...
and Jack Eyre's gone!
You're kidding me. So Fraser Williamson. Oh, Jack Eyre has gone to send it and goes straight on the Retzafilio chicane.
That makes me feel okay, because obviously it just flashes up that a driver has crashed, and obviously when you go and check it, it's not actually as bad as... so he's lost a couple of places there, but for sure that could have been a lot worse there for Jack Eyre.
Yeah, and now that puts him in 4th position. That's 23 points, which means Fraser Williamson now effectively, he's currently in 2nd position, which nets him 30 points. He came into this with 337, puts him on 367. Jack Eyre, as a result of straight lining at the Retzafilio chicane, now on 363. So Williamson now has in a virtual championship standing, a 4-point advantage over Jack Eyre. Lewis Ward now is currently in 9th position, and that puts him onto 340 points, which says to me it goes to the final round next week, whatever happens this evening. And where's Ronald Grossman at the moment? Well, Grossman's currently on effectively, that's going to put him on 306 points, and he's still mathematically in with a chance, as here is Tom Jones and there is Sean Dobie just behind. Let's see what happens here. This is going through the Lesmo. Oh, the back end of Tom Jones just steps out completely there and nearly gets collected by Sean Doby in the process. So Honor Korsman's title fight is not outside of the realms of mathematical possibility, let's say, David.
Yeah, this is all going... Oh, side-by-side action between Adam Brown and Fraser Williamson. Fraser did not need that. Fraser trying to catch up to John Gronkowski with 20 minutes left to go, so it's definitely possible. But that puts Adam Brown in between, and that is a nice little wedge of space that Fraser Williamson has got. Although, look at this, Adam Brown's going to try and take the side on the entrance to the chicane here. Tries to outbrake him. Is he going to get it?
No, he doesn't. That's a great move there by Fraser Williamson through, I think that was that was Variante della Roggia. They just went through as they go into the Lesmo Uno and then Lesmo Due. So, yeah, Fraser Williamson really has that car cornering on rails. And to send it how he did through Adam Brown, who tried to take the opportunity through Variante della Roggia, it just shows the measure of Fraser Williamson. And that shows glimpses of a championship-winning drive there from the 369 Porsche. As now they go under the bridge into the Ascari chicane. Slight clip on the right rear wheel of Fraser Williamson going through into the entrance of the Variante Ascari. Adam Brown nearly going into the kitty litter a little bit there, making the exit. But you can just see how hard these guys are pushing. Kieran Smart is not too far behind this battle. He's about 1.5 seconds off of Jack Air. And there is Kieran Smart. He's not that far adrift, is he, Dan?
No, he's certainly within the balance of reach.
As we now hit 1/3 of this race down, 2/3 to go, so just over 10 minutes of 30 race completed. Gronkowski now being... Jack Air definitely getting in, stuck in, and it's nearly 3 abreast into the Retafilio. Who's going to break the latest out of all of them? It is Fraser Williamson, who takes second position, as now they manage to get past the number 23 of Grant Angus, who's just had a spin. But this is a pivotal moment here. Jack Air got a real good run on Fraser Williamson and Adam Brown as they go through Curva Grande. And Jack Air now fighting tooth and nail, side by side into the Variante della Roggia. But Williamson is going to have the inside line for this chicane. And they're still going to keep it side by side. Oh, Jack Air nearly got it through there. But Fraser Williamson still keeps ahead for the moment. My goodness, this is an absolute cliffhanger here.
Whew, and we've still got 20 minutes left to go. Let's have a look at what happened to Sam Harper here. This is on the entry to turn 1. Look at that behind him. That is big moment there. Oh my goodness me! Who was that was sent off to the moon?
To the moon, Alice.
Yeah, that was...
and that's a very damaged...
I'm just trying to see, that was Grant Angus as well. That obviously he had big damage on turn 1.
That was Anil Singh, I think, in the 42. Anil Singh, because that...
It was.
Yeah.
Wow, that was a huge hit there.
Let's just say there are offs, and then there are offs like that.
Yep.
Eek. I'm sure that Anil will come back and go, that was not part of the plan. As now Adam Brown trying to go up the inside of Jack Air through the exit of Parabolica. These two are going to get a run again on Fraser Williamson as they head down the main straightaway, heading towards the Variante della Retafilio. And now Adam Brown will have the inside run on Jack Air going into the chicane. Fraser Williamson might have to watch himself now as Adam Brown tries to go up the inside of the 369 but keeps ahead of Jack Air in the 13. And now the cushion returns to what it was previously. The Jack Air currently now, he was on 340 points coming into this race, and he's now on 363. So the pendulum swings again in the favour of Fraser Williamson so far.
Oh, great move there from Peter Butcher, just behind for 5th place there to take over from Kieran Smart there. We missed that because we were paying attention to the battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. But yeah, great move there for Peter Butcher, move himself up into 5th place. And I tell you what, Fraser Williamson is under real pressure right now from Adam Brown. Absolutely inspired drive right now from Adam Brown, and he is definitely within contention of taking that 2nd place. But keep an eye on Peter Butcher behind him and Kieran Smart. Another man to watch out for right now is Lewis Ward, 1:59.04 his last time round, and he is definitely trying to get his way back. But it looks like Sean Dobie, his day is going from bad to worse. He's just left pit lane, and it looks like he's had an accident going into turn 1 here.
Let's just see. Goes through. Oh! Goes Knight Rider style, ski mode through the second half of Retifidio again, and then the back end spins out. But yeah, I mean, Adam Brown, his best result of the season so far, is currently running 15th in the championship standings. Round 3, where he scored 38 points, and that was 7th position. But look, Brown not giving up on trying to get past Williamson as they go down the start-finish straight, heading into the Retifidio. And look, he's just quite literally slipstreamed his way past Fraser Williamson into the Retifidio. Williamson tries to go on the inside. Oh, little touch from behind by Jack Eyre, but that actually hinders Jack Eyre in the 13. And what that did was allowed Fraser Williamson to have a little bit of forward momentum. But as a result of that, here comes Kieran Smart and Peter Butcher in 6th and 7th behind the number 13.
Yeah, this is real 3D chess on 15,000 different levels, and it's a big move up the inside for Fraser Williamson. Oh, there's contact again onto the rear of Fraser Williamson from Adam Brown. And yeah, this is now a 5-car train. And I tell you what, one man who we have not spoken about in the last 10 minutes is a man who is laughing himself all the way to the bank right now, 12 seconds up the road, Jordan Gronkowski. How can you have such a level of difference between the two races, Alex?
I think you're going to have to ask him post-race. That's the only thing we're going to find out. But this absolute skirmish between 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th is really kicking off. Oh, Kieran Smart runs wide. Oh! And loses out of position 2. That's the number 13 of Jack Eyre that he's just lost out to in that sort of exchange. But Peter Butcher in the 82, not too far behind the number 39 BMW, but Kieran Smart still doing a fantastic job, I must admit here, David, being the lead BMW. Andrew Hopley effectively has finished his evening, so it's not gone well for Mr. Two Thumbs Fresh. And Scott Smith also in the pit, so one sole BMW, and the remainder of the cars out there, I think I count 14 Porsches and one BMW still circulating. We have less than 14 minutes to go.
Yeah, and it's this entire round has been a war of attrition. As we see Jacqueline Chalmers trying to go to the inside there. I think she was very, very, very wide into the corner there. Oh, and there's big drama as Peter Butcher and Kieran Smart come to blows. We just caught the tail end of that. Let's have a look at what happens here. And that looks like Peter Butcher is a mile back going into the first corner here.
Well, yeah,
Kieran Smart's outbroken himself, tried to come back on track, and it's actually Kieran Smart at fault there, Alex.
Yeah, I think it's never easy. I mean, if you outbreak video chicane, you've got damage limitation, and that was damage with no damage limitation there, unfortunately, for Kieran Smart. And
John Gronkowski going a little bit wide here. Let's see what happens with him. I think he was a little bit late into the corner there. Just a little bit wide. Nothing really to worry about. That's absolutely fine there. But yeah, all the drivers pushing the absolute limits of these cars. And Fraser Williamson just cannot get a break from Adam Brown. Jack Eyre has dropped back by about a second there. But Adam Brown keeping Fraser Williamson honest here.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that you've got to sort of contend with is Fraser Williamson bouncing over the curbs on the right and on the left in that Porsche. He's now got the pressure because now he knows that he's got to keep himself ahead of Adam Brown. Brown's thinking of other ideas. He's pulling alongside Fraser Williamson on the run down to the Parabolica. And this now, again, changes things, but it depends on how quickly Fraser Williamson gets the cut back through. And you can now see the 369 taking a tighter line. Oh, Brown runs wide. Williamson to the inside, coming through the parabolica. And one of the biggest things that we have to remember here, David, is that the gap between the drivers in second and fourth position in terms of the lead in the standings is just 4 points. Because it means that Jack Eyre has less, as they're coming up against back markers who now decide to straight line the Rettifilio chicane. So the more that Fraser Williamson can keep away from Jack Eyre, the better it's going to be for him going into Bathurst next time out. And when you put it this way, that 75 points will be on offer for pole position and for the race win. It's a single 60, and it is going to be down to who qualifies the best. And effectively, let's just look at it from this perspective. It goes to countback, and Williamson qualifies fourth but wins the race at Bathurst. He's effectively could be declared the champion because he's won multiple rounds so far this season. I mean, looking at Jack Eyre, he hasn't won a race this year. So effectively, Williamson has had 4 race victories this season. And if that happens, then all he has to do is just qualify in the bottom part of the top 5 and win the race, and he's got the job done. But that's another thing. That's better said. It's one thing to say it, and it's another thing to carry out the act in its full unbridled vulgarity, so to speak.
I was wondering where you were going with that one there, Alex,
I know. I ran out of words at that.
But no, that is exactly the point. It looks so easy on paper, and there's so many options on paper, but when it comes down to actually happening on track, it's going to be another thing entirely, as we see Peter Butcher fighting with a back marker, and Kieran Smart as well. That's
Tom Jones in the 24. And Jones runs wide, I think, just to keep out of the way. You can see the different lines that these cars are taking. Peter Butcher taking a wider line through Parabolica to get the carry through for momentum. Same with Kieran Smart. I mean, these two have been at loggerheads for over 20 minutes now. It doesn't seem like that's going to abate, as now Scott Smith will now exit the pit lane in effectively 19th position. But yeah, I mean, it is down to what happens in 2 weeks' time, because the single 60... You know, the double 30, you get a bit of a respite, you get to warm things up, ready for the second race. But then when it's the single 60, it's one qualifying session, you've got a couple of opportunities to nail your lap time. But if you get it wrong, that is the difference between sink or swim. And whoever qualifies going into Bathurst between Jack Eyre and Fraser Williamson. But look at Lewis Ward now. He has made some inroads. He's up into 7th position, which puts him on a further 19 points. And if I'm honest here, David, that puts him on 342. So he's not out of this fight. He is not out of this fight by any stretch whatsoever. And that puts the top 3 effectively 25 points adrift. Ronald Grossman, I mean, he's slipping down the order. He's now down on 305 points. So effectively, I think that Ronald Grossman will just have to try and see if he can stay in the top 5 in the standings at the end of this championship. But it's now going to be between Jack Eyre, Fraser Williamson and Lewis Ward for the inaugural title in 2 weeks' time. And that, I wanted it to... I think we both were hoping and praying it was going to come down to the wire. And I think we've got our wish, haven't we?
Yeah, well, I think we certainly have, and the reason for that is that it just brings everything to a crescendo, brings everything to a really nice boil, as we see Adam Brown having a look on the inside in towards turn 1. He backs out of it, dips in back behind Fraser Williamson, but all the while he's just letting Fraser know that he is still there, and it's an excellent run out of the corner for Adam Brown, and they're going to be side by side coming through the right-hander here. Fantastic effort. In fact, that's going to be a slow down penalty surely for Fraser Williamson, because he goes to the outside, and a very uncharacteristic move there for Fraser Williamson as they're on the run down to the second Variante.
Yeah, it was. That was a moment. Both wheels on the right-hand side in the air. I've just been having a look at the rules and regulations actually for the SMRC Summer Esports Challenge, and I quote Regulation 15F: in the event of a tie in the point standings, the position in question will go to the driver with the most race victories. So even if Jack Eyre and Fraser Williamson are level on points at Bathurst, on the benefit of having 4 race victories, Williamson will take the title.
Yeah.
And it's basically, if the same applies there, the procedure, then this is, so, it's basically, you'll then go to 15F.1. If neither driver has a win or the same number of wins as the other tied driver, well, that won't happen. So Fraser Williamson has just got to keep on level pegging with Jack Eyre. He's basically got to stay with him all the way through Bathurst in 2 weeks' time, because otherwise, if something goes horribly wrong for Fraser Williamson, God forbid that to happen, he will not win the title. But again, he's now ahead of Adam Brown and back up into second place. So at the moment, David, the points still 367 for Williamson, 363 for Eyre, and Lewis Ward 342, with Ronald Grossman currently now what is back onto 306. And we've got just under 6 minutes of this race left to go. I love it when a championship goes down to the wire.
Oh yeah. It just makes it so exciting for not just you and me, but for everyone watching out there just now. And a big shout out to everyone that is out on YouTube and on Facebook tonight, especially Alan Luth, who did the skin for Scott Smith, and he said he didn't paint his car for him to sit in the pit. So thankfully we see Scott Smith back out, and a fantastic looking skin. He's really struggling with that car. There's quite a bit of damage to it, and I think the race for second place is done and dusted with 5 minutes left to go, because that gap now up to over a second. But Kieran Smart still being hounded right now for 5th place by Peter Butcher, 4/10 of a second. But I tell you what a cracking little battle we've had going on for 13th place. I've kept my eye on this all the way through. Ronald Grossman and Jacqueline Chalmers have been trading places left, right and centre here, and they've been in a proper ding-dong battle. Oh, and there's Adam Brown looking like he's going very, very wide out that corner. He is desperate to catch on. I tell you what, he's brought that gap down, Alex, to under a second.
Yeah, but with about just under 4.5 minutes to go, Williamson now knows that he's broken the momentum that Adam Brown has had for the last 10-15 minutes of this race, because Adam Brown and Jack Eyre were both closing on Fraser Williamson. But it is about trying to break that toe here at Monza, and it's never easy. Fraser Williamson has been, one of the standout, if not the standout performer this season. Not to single him out in any way, shape, or form there, but just the temerity of just going at it and just trying to do the best, no matter what obstacle is thrown at you, no matter whether you've got someone breathing down your neck who's not in the title fight, as now we see Peter Butcher run on the back bumper of Kieran Smart with just 3.5 minutes to go. But the fact that the sheer will and motivation, the will to win by Fraser Williamson is what is pushing him forward. And when you break the run of momentum that someone like Adam Brown has had for that amount of time in a race, eventually Brown is going to sort of say, well, actually, I'm not in the title fight. The guy in front of me is. It'd be nice to get past him and get one up on him, but by doing that, Brown could not only compromise himself, but then bring Jack Eyre straight into the lead of the championship once again. So it is about conservation. You want to make sure that you get to the end of the race, you want to score as many points as possible.
Yeah, that's spot on. I couldn't have put that any better myself, and that gap has now stayed static between Fraser Williamson and Adam Brown at 0.8 of a second. And it looks like we've had a huge moment for Cameron Ritchie. This might be down in towards turn 1. Has he just straight lined it at the end? I think the brakes have maybe failed him. It looks so. Yep, straight over the sausage curb, and a little bit of straddling going on as well. Let's say no more about that one, because we have to turn our attention to Jordan Gronkowski. Just 2 laps stand between Jordan and his second race win of the championship, and I've got to be honest, I never saw this one coming, especially after race 1 tonight.
Once bitten, twice shy, Mr. Christie.
Yes.
I think that's what Jordan Gronkowski has been sort of thinking, as if to say, yeah, I dropped the ball last time, didn't I? More than just once. And now he's making amends for it. And it has been pretty much a perfect race in the better sense of both words there, to lead now by over 14 seconds from Fraser Williamson, who goes into the season finale at Bathurst in 2 weeks' time with a 4-point advantage in the standings. I mean, you know, we've seen everything ever so close, but Gronkowski has just been faultless. He's not let everything get to him. If there's been the slightest mistake, you know, he's managed to get around it and get back pointing in the right direction. But Adam Brown again now trying to get second position off of Fraser Williamson in what's the penultimate lap here at Monza, and I think Fraser Williamson is sort of like saying, thou shalt not pass. And then Adam Brown has another idea going through into the Cova del Seraglio. I'm wondering if Fraser Williamson's tyres are now sort of gone off a little bit. But the biggest thing here, David, is that when they go through the Ascari, Williamson's going to have the run on him and get the momentum through the toe, through into Parabolica. And he could do that on this lap and the next, as Brown again goes through the grass out of the Ascari chicane, and the right rear wheel kicks up the grass, and you can just see how quickly Fraser Williamson is closing into the Parabolica.
Yeah, but he breaks earlier, so it's going to be on the start-finish straight as your race leader, Jordan Gronkowski, goes across the line to start the final lap of the race. His pace has been fantastic, but it is starting to drop off a little bit. He's just managing and controlling the gap, so we will keep an eye on him. But this is where the race is right now. Just 0.7 of a second. It's going to be side-by-side coming down the main straight as we start the final lap for these two. Fraser Williamson on the left-hand side, Adam Brown on the inside. It's the battle of the late breakers. It's going to be Fraser Williamson around the outside. What a move! A huge move into second place, and he reaps the benefits. But Adam Brown with a great exit out of the corner. It's now how wide can Fraser Williamson make that car? Adam Brown just decides to stick it up on the inside. Surely not. Fraser Williamson just gifted him that one on the plate, but he's going to have a inside line. And a little bit of a hip check there, and they're on the entrance to the Seconda Variante. They get through it side by side still. How is that even possible? They're onto the first decimal corner and still side by side. It's still going to be Adam Brown to the inside, still Fraser Williamson to the outside, and they're still side by side. If Fraser Williamson goes right the outside and takes second place, absolutely incredible action on the final lap of the race.
Yeah, but now Adam Brown has the advantage. Fraser Williamson now has the bullseye on the back bumper. They now head towards the Variante Ascari for the final time. This could really make the difference in the championship in the favour of Fraser Williamson. They now go through into Ascari for the final time. But I think just very shortly, let's see, coming around the final corner, the number 33 of Jordan Gronkowski comes through the Parabolica. After disaster in the first race for the 33, comes across and starts weaving left to right, flashing the headlights, and wins race 2 here at Monza. But now it is between Fraser Williamson, who is ahead and has managed to keep in front of Adam Brown round the final corner, and now taking a 4-point lead in the standings. Fraser Williamson goes to the final round at Bathurst in a couple of weeks. 4 points ahead of the driver in 4th position, Jack Eyre, with Adam Brown rounding out the top 3. And Kieran Smart becomes a top 5 driver in this race, finishing by 0.305 ahead of Peter Butcher in the run to 5th position. Lewis Ward still within a chance, 25 points adrift, finishing in 7th place. Michael Weddle, the man who said, I've got pace, I'm rapido, up into 8th place at the end of it. Sorry, Michael, you just had to say it. John Lang and Sam Harper ran at the top 10 positions. Gary Brown will complete the top 11. Jacqueline Chalmers, I think, takes her highest place in this season, just ahead of, would you believe it, Ronald Grossman in the number 90. Chalmers takes 12th place. Tom Jones will come round and complete the final lap in 14th position. Looks like there's Cameron Ritchie in 15th, who will now take the checkered flag. Peter Moore will be in 16th, as there comes a man that we've affectionately come to know as B. Diddy, haven't we, quite recently, David? Martin Buchan, who recently took the crown of the Cinetic BMW Series champion in the E-Team Brit GT3 Challenge just last week. He will take 17th ahead of Sean Dobie. Scott Smith in 19th. But yeah, Jordan Gronkowski takes the maximum score in race 2, but Fraser Williamson is 4 points ahead going into the final round in 2 weeks' time. Oh, the cliffhanger.
Wow. What can you possibly say about that? It was just awesome stuff, and fantastic race. Thank you so much, Alex, for joining us tonight. I don't even know where to begin. We've obviously got loads and loads of drivers to chat to, but I mean, Alex, we're at the tail end of the championship now. We've just got Bathurst to go next week. What's
next week like? Or week after next?
Sorry, week after next. Next time round.
I'm just going to do this for David's benefit.
Yes, thank you. What's the season been like for yourself?
It's been enthralling. I think that is the word that I can use to sum up this season. You know, we both decided to jump on this, and you know, for you to sort of like say, do you want to jump on board with it? And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, why not? And it has been enthralling. That we've had some great tracks, we've had some fantastic overtakes, we've had some dramas, we've had some incidents and accidents and threats and allegations, maybe behind the scenes, for all I know. But it's been fantastic, mate. I'm looking forward to the season finale in a couple of weeks at the mountain at Mount Panorama, mate. It's a perfect way to close off the season.
Well said, that man. Without further ado, then, let's get some drivers in and do some post-race chat. First up, then, is going to be none other than the main man himself, one of the main title contenders, and still in with a shout. A very, very good evening to Fraser Williamson. Fraser, that was nail-biting towards the end there.
Yeah, no, I made that more difficult than I had to, let's be honest. I just decided to not stay on the track.
Was that an active decision for you? Were you? Because I mean, Adam Brown isn't a name that we've been accustomed to through the early parts of the championship, and he was absolutely giving you what for tonight.
Don't blame him. He signed up for a race. He had a race. Like, I can't expect any less than that. I just every time I got past him, made a gap, I got a slowdown because I'm a very good, high quality driver like that.
I love the fact you said that with a straight face as well.
Yeah.
Right, let's talk business because we're coming up to the final rounds of the season, in towards Bathurst. Do you think tonight sets you up in good standing for that?
No, because I can still lose the championship. Simple as that. I'm still there. Bathurst is it can be cruel. It will sort people out in its own special wall-based fashion. But Bathurst is just going to be whoever can survive and who can put the full race together.
Yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell exactly what it is. Talk us through tonight then, because obviously it was a decent and a very consistent 2 races that you had tonight.
Yeah, it's a bit out of the ordinary. Messed up qualifying. Then in race 1, I realised that everyone else had taken Wang and to make the car more friendly to a straight line, so to speak. So I was just a sitting duck, because all the Porsches tried to match the BMs. So I was just hoping if they keep on hitting each other, eventually they'll have enough aero damage that I can do something. Thankfully they hit each other, so I managed to get back to 3rd. Race 2 was just more of the same, just survived because I knew at some point there was going to be some absolute carnage. turn second chicane, there was absolute carnage. Then I just found myself up in third, second in that battle. Then that thinned out just to me, Adam, and Jack. Don't know what happened to Jack yet. But then, yeah, then it was just a case of hold second at all costs.
Well, a decent night out at the races for yourself, Fraser. We look forward to seeing you back at Bathurst. And is there a lot of practice going to be going into the mountain?
Next week, yes. Nothing until next Tuesday, probably. So probably not as much as I'd like, considering I hate Bathurst passionately and think it up there's the Nordschleifer for things that shouldn't be racetracks. I'm going to get hated for saying that, but it's,
Hang on, I'm going to have to shield you in chat for saying that, especially from myself, because that is next to sacrilege. So Bathurst not one of your favourite tracks then?
No, it's brilliant for hot lapping. For racing, it's a bit meh. Especially on this Porsche GT4 with its interesting suspension. Well, interesting idea of what suspension should be. Yeah, over the mountain while claim victims, and that was a slowdown that I've just seen that I picked up in the book. We're showing that back in slow mo.
I just, just exploring all of the track there. Well, Fraser, thank you for joining us tonight. Have a fantastic end to your week, and we will see you in a couple of weeks' time for Bathurst.
Next week.
Yes, that too. Well, actually, I will double check that for you, because I think we've got... See, I always get caught out on that because I said that during the consoles and it turned out to be 2 weeks, and I was absolutely positive that there was a little bit more of a gap.
Right.
Nope, it is. It's 10th of September for Mount Panorama.
Oh, good. I don't need to touch this in for a while.
I thought that. I was like, you don't have to punish yourself next week. So, yeah, a little bit of a week off for you, and then we'll see you back at the Mount. But thanks very much for joining us tonight, Fraser, and take it easy, buddy.
I'll see you later on. Cheers.
See ya. Right, let's go and have a chat with Jack here. Bring him into the madness. Jack, good evening. A fantastic race one for yourself, and it wasn't too shabby a race two either.
Yeah, honestly, don't know where the pace came from. Really happy with the qualifying lap, and I think it's my first pole in this season. So really happy to really lead every lap of race one, surprise myself, and then race two. Couple laps in from 15th up to I think 5th by lap 3, and then nice battle with Fraser and my teammate, but I picked up a little bit of damage from running into the back of Fraser into turn 1, I think on about lap 5 or 6, and then I just hemorrhaging time down the straights. Couldn't even keep with my delta, so yeah, really did myself out of a better race 2 result, but to round the weekend off, very happy from both races.
And obviously some vital points going in towards the final round of the championship, and that puts you right up there with the contenders. Is that going through your mind at all for Bathurst, or are you just out there to get the best result you can?
Well, 100% I was counting points earlier on just after qualifying because, that seems to be my where I lose the most points to like Fraser and Lewis, because I'm always like 3rd or 4th or 5th. I only pick like 1 or 2 points up from qualifying. So to take 5 before we'd even, gone green flag racing was good. And to seal the deal with the winning race 1 was just the icing on the cake, really. So, yeah, definitely counting points, but it comes down to the wire again. 1 hour race in Bathurst with a pit stop. No race 2 to kind of regroup if things don't go too well. So we'll see.
Well, let's talk about Bathurst because obviously it's an iconic track, and we heard a little bit from Fraser that some of the drivers love the Porsche, some of the drivers not too impressed with the tyre model and the handling of the car, the GT4 variant. What's your thoughts on it, and how do you think it's going to cope with the Mount Panorama?
Well, I can't really say I've driven the GT4 on any other sim, so there's not really much that I know to compare it to something else, for example, but I really get on with it. I'm not sure if it's due to the fact that I upgraded my hardware about halfway through the season, so having a direct drive wheel just gives me a little bit more, force feedback resolution. It's a bit clearer. So I honestly, I really get on with it, but Bathurst, maybe not. We'll see. I'm going to have to put a lot of practice into that because the margins are just so tight. But it is a track that I'm familiar with. It's just not in the top 5, so to speak. So, I'm going to need to do a lot of practice. But I'm happy with the car. Excellent. I feel I can get what I need to get out of it.
Well, you've done really, really well so far this season, and we really look forward to having a humdinger of a final round at Bathurst in 2 weeks' time. Thank you very much for joining us, Jack, and we will see you at Bathurst.
Thank you. Take care.
Right, who have we got left then? Let's go and bring in the man himself, Mr. Weddle. Michael, right, we've got a bit of a moment here because that entire halftime interview that we did with you, I may have accidentally had you on mute, buddy.
Well, that's a bit awkward, isn't it?
Right, so
Yeah.
can we just
compare? It wasn't just you; it was me as well.
That's a rookie mistake, 7 rounds into the championship. But never mind, Michael. A much better race 2 for you.
Oh, you know what? I actually had a little dance in my seat when I made it past turn 1. It's quite nice.
Here, not as much as we did, I can promise you. We were delighted to see that it didn't come up in Big Red Right and Michael Weddle has crashed. But, I mean, look, second race was completely different. If anything, compared to the rest of the season, maybe we had it reversed around. Race 1 was a little bit more hectic than race 2. What was your thoughts going into that second race? Because obviously you didn't have a good race 1.
I kind of just wanted to survive. I think there was one moment at lap 3 going up to Ascari. It was, I think there was about 7 people trying to fight for one position, and 2 people went off for Ascari. So it was pretty interesting, but I managed to make it out alive. So I'll take finishing 8th. There was no point trying to hold up Lewis because just so quick. So I was kind of hoping he would go fast and catch the 2 guys ahead, but it was kind of a lonely race after the first 4 laps.
Well, that's the next question I was going to ask you. Now, through the race, we obviously have to try and give as much focus to all the different cars as we possibly can, but we tend to focus on where the groups are and where the action is. Now, as a driver, when you're on your own on the circuit, how difficult is it? Because a lot of the drivers like being battling. They like using other drivers as braking markers and reference points. Do you like being out by yourself, or do you prefer being in a group?
Usually I like to be by myself, but today, considering I bought the track 30 minutes, an hour before the qualifying started, so I kind of liked being in a group to use everyone else as a reference. But interesting.
And finally, Bathurst. What we thinking towards that?
Well, I'm kind of hoping everyone's going to end up on the roof, and I'm just going to go nice and steady up the mountain and go fast at going down, and we'll see where it takes us. And we'll take it from there.
So just to clarify, when you say you hope everyone's on the roof, you mean everyone else is on the roof and you can just sail through them?
I'm kind of going for the turtle versus the hare approach, Nice and slowly, we'll make it through.
We will wait with bated breath, Michael, to see how that one pans out. Well done on race 2, buddy.
Sure.
Great recovery drive there, and we'll see you in 2 weeks at Bathurst.
See you there.
Right, 2 more drivers to have a quick chat with, and we will call it a night for our penultimate race night of the SMRC eSports iRacing Summer Championship. Let us chat to none other than Mr. Tom Jones, who finished in 14th place. Had a bit of a rough night. Tom, very good evening. Welcome aboard. Yeah, that wasn't the best tonight, was it?
Well, if we just completely ignore the fact that race 2 happened, I think it went pretty well.
So, yeah, brilliant night then, mate. Well done on the one race that you did do. So obviously the software that we've got gives us text highlights of what's going on through the race. And if I had a penny for the amount of times that Tom Jones has went off track, I'd be very rich. But compared to race 1, I mean, what happened? What was the difference there?
Race 2 all went horribly wrong when a car behind me decided to come across somebody else and then in the braking zone move across somebody else. And then when they moved across somebody else, of course, they span themselves out and then they went flying across the grass and nailed the side of me. And with a nice tiny little bit of damage, my aero was gone and I was about 5 to 10 Ks down on the straight. Well, not quite that much, probably only about 5. And it also sort of ruined the balance of the car. And yeah, so every time I turned right, it would want to spin. Now, fortunately, as you know, there's pretty much every turn at Monza's left, isn't it? So yeah, it wasn't a great second race.
And I mean, obviously, it's one to forget Bathurst in a couple of weeks' time. Are you looking forward to that for the final?
Yeah, I can. Things have changed for me. Plans have changed for me this week, so I can 100% make it to Bathurst, which will be good. So I'm looking forward to that one.
And what particularly about that circuit? Because we've said it a few times tonight, it's an absolutely iconic circuit. Coming over Skyline, heading down through the dip, and really stretching that GT4 Porsche engine to give everything it possibly can. Where are your strengths going to be on that track?
Fortunately, is like in a lot of racing games, it's like if it's got Bathurst in it's one I just always love. I just love the flow over the top. So normally end up driving it in front engine cars. So it's gonna be a bit different driving it in a rear engine car. So I just love the track. I tend to think I know most of the braking points, but of course I've never driven there before, so it's going to be interesting to learn the braking points and stuff over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully I can just keep it out the wall. And if I can do that, I think I stand a good chance for like a top 10, top 5, hopefully.
Well, fingers crossed, buddy, and that'll give you some good points for the final of the championship. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Right, we've got 2 more drivers to have a chat to, and then that is us. Fingers crossed.
Yes. Before I forget, we've got to decide the talk driver.
Yes, we do. In fact, we'll take a very, very quick break. We'll mute our mics and leave you with the wonderful vision of Tom Jones heading around the track. So, yeah, I'll mute our mics here, and we can have a very private discussion about our torque driver of the day. Well, there we go. That was a nice, easy, quick decision. So, unanimously, from myself and Alex Goldschmidt, we're going to award the torque driver of the day to this man here, Adam Brown, who we were absolutely blown away with by the sheer tenacity in race 2, the consistency in race 1. A great evening and a very enjoyable spectacle. So congratulations to tonight's torque driver of the day, Adam Brown. Let's get finishing with the interviews then, because we have got Martin Buchan and Peter Butcher to have a chat with. So we'll bring them in here and rudely interrupt our conversation. But a very good evening to Martin Buchan and Peter Butcher. Gentlemen, you're our final interviewees of the night. Martin, for yourself first, what was that race like?
Oh, don't bring me in with Peter. I already took him out once. I don't need this.
No, it's fine. We're it's an intervention. Think of it that way.
No, I mean race one was all right actually. I mean, I was doing not half bad. I thought I was pleasantly surprised. Might have knocked off Kieran and Peter when I thought I had Formula One style brakes on my car. Don't know why I had that. But yeah, I got 6th in race 2. I'd better not say what I think happened because I might get in trouble.
Well, that'll be a first then. I'm sure I'll be waiting to hear what happened between the lines there. But look, actually, that's a great point for the two of you, Martin and Peter. Incidents obviously happen all the time through the races, and for drivers, when the two of you maybe say have an accident into each other, what happens? How do you guys resolve it, or does the sort of hatchet lie buried and you're going to nail each other on the final round?
Go on, Pete. I'll let you answer first.
Yeah, that's an awkward one. I protested Martin before I came in here. But yeah, no, it was just a little bit of an annoying accident. I guess in the heat of the moment, I thought it deserved a look at by the stewards. But yeah, normally we do it on track and we say our piece at the end of the race. And yeah, sometimes you can let it go, but sometimes it's just you think it needs a look at maybe.
Yeah. I mean, with the crash I had with Kieran, Kieran caught me back up, so I just pulled over, said, "On you go." Peter was catching me, but it was the last lap. I was like, nah, can I let him go? Can I just let him
I
have
didn't
it?
expect you to move out the way. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, but then on the other side, I guess at Brazil last week, I mean, I got punted off it in the second race at turn 1. Probably did the worst thing you can do and had an absolute feege going over it, and then just decided to crash my own car.
Hang on, you had an absolute what?
Having a feege.
Feege.
Having an anger.
I know,
yeah,
but
feege.
we've got non-Scottish folk here listening to the
I've
stream.
never heard that in my life.
Yeah, you're going to have to explain that now.
Just having a bit of a mini meltdown kind of thing. And
Is that the same
throwing
as
the
me
toys out
ripping the
pram.
wheel off of the mount and throwing it against the wall?
I've done that once, but not on iRacing.
Did you know, guys, you cannot eat a steering wheel? I've tried. Going back to the incidents, and again, not talking about tonight's incident in particular, but you two are both incredibly level-headed gentlemen for the majority of the time. As sim racers, is it easy accepting where you've made a mistake?
Do you want to go first, Martin? Or?
No, you go, Pete.
So it depends, really. It depends. I think in team events, if you make a mistake on your own, that hurts. Like if you cost the team a result, then that's bad. But if you're on your own and you make your own mistake, it's way easier to accept when there aren't teammates that you've also let down, I think.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, Peter's right. I mean, when you're in a team endurance race, if you're the one who does the mistake, you're like, oh, it's
horrible.
One, you've cost the team a good result, but 2, you get absolutely slandered for it as well. Because I've been on the other side and slandered teammates for making mistakes, and it's great fun because I sit there going, "Well, I didn't do nothing wrong. Why didn't you do nothing wrong?" But yeah, when it's yourself, it depends what kind of moment. If you're battling for a championship, it's worse, obviously, because you're like, "Oh, that could cost it." But if you're kind of not battling for something, I just kind of go, you know what, just roll with it. It's always another race to do.
Right, gents, final question then. Bathurst, 2 weeks' time. Between the two of you, is looking forward to it? Do you think you can make a good impact on the evening? Peter, we'll start with you first.
I said last week I'd be making the next 2 rounds, but unfortunately I won't be able to make the final.
Peter, I was hoping we could twist your arm.
I know. I will try, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make it, unfortunately. But I'd like to take that opportunity to thank the SMRC and you guys for running this, because it's been a great championship, and I do hope I can make the final. It would be great to finish it off on a high, but literally at Bathurst. But yeah, I might not make it.
Martin, what about yourself?
Oh, can't wait. I love the place. But I think I've jinxed it because I've already told Ed Porter I'm going to win it for him now. So that's just not
I saw
good.
that, and you want to give him a wee shout out because Ed is one of our biggest fans here at SMRC.
Ed is something else. I mean, that's what we need though in the coverage. People tuning in and having a bit of banter with and stuff. It's great fun. But yeah, I'll have a special car painted for it as well. Don't worry.
Do you know what? I'll get a picture of him. You can put his face all over the car.
If you want me to do that, I will actually do that.
Right, let's make it, and you have to have it gold.
All right, yeah, I can do that. Hi.
B Diddy rocking the representing.
That's the second time that's been said in this podcast.
Martin's got his name plastered all over the side of his car, so you'll have to change it to whoever this gentleman is that you're talking about.
Yeah, that's going to happen. We'll make that happen, guys. But listen, thank you very much for your time tonight, gentlemen. We'll move you off into the other channel there. And good luck to Martin and to Peter. I know Peter said he might not make it. I'm going to basically do everything I can involving horses' heads on pillows. We'll disconnect his internet. Peter Butcher will be at Bathurst. Whether he willingly wants to, that's the other matter. But
or you could just have his car.
I could race it. Yeah, I could race his car. That's what we could do. Anyway,
no.
Alex,
no.
It's done, mate. It's done. Right.
Not the latter with you racing his car. God, crikey, that would be a lot of tomfoolery there, mate.
That is us then. Thank you, Alex, so much for joining me tonight. We've just got one more race to go. Can you believe it?
No, I can't. But I think it's going to be an absolute humdinger in 2 weeks' time at the The circuit that Peter Brock was well known for, Craig Lowndes, Mark Scaife, Gentleman Jim Richards, amongst others, Russell Ingle, the enforcer, and we let loose the GT4 Dogs of War at Mount Panorama in 2 weeks' time. And I think, as we pretty much know, David, all hell is guaranteed of breaking loose in New South Wales in 2 weeks. I can't wait, buddy.
And that is absolutely guaranteed on the cars. So join us on September the 10th, just 2 weeks' time, for our final round of the SMRC eSports iRacing Championship. We look forward to seeing you. Big, huge thanks to all our sponsors, and we will see you next week. Take care, have a fantastic week off, and we'll see you very, very soon.